testing. I've been contacted for about 3 of those. Today I'm going to talk to you about something. Hopefully it's not going to be too weird. Basically, I've got a bit of a problem. I went on a rapid software testing course towards the end of last year with Michael Bolton, and the consequence of that is that I think about testing now even more than I used to. Really inappropriate times. It's terrible. It's not good, but I really enjoy my job and I really like the challenge that it presents. The reason I'm saying this is because a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month or so ago, I went to my first ballet, and I was sat in the ballet. I was thinking to myself, this is awesome. Then I thought, what's wrong with me? But then I thought, well, as I was watching it started reminding me of testing and testing problems. So I'm going to share some of my musings with you guys now. So the first thing that I thought was, I've never been to one. I don't know if you guys have been. Anyone been to a ballet before? Okay, so you've been. See, I didn't realise it was so busy. It's absolutely ridiculous. I just thought it was going to be 1 or 2 people just prancing around the stage. There's loads of people on the stage. There's the orchestra that you can see. Well, depending on where your seat is. My seat was kind of pretty central, but up and raised to the back, so I could see pretty much everything. I could see all the gallery, so I could see the layout of everything. And it's all really interesting. And also there were at least 10 or 20 people on the stage performing. And while you're looking over this part of the stage, looking at something interesting, these guys over here are doing something that's not necessarily, they're not all doing the same thing. And that was really interesting. That reminded me of when I'm trying to figure out some coverage, how to cover the test space or something. Okay, so if I look over here, if I spend my time looking over here, what am I not looking at over here? Because I was looking at the orchestra, I was watching the conductor giving it some large, and I was like, and I was seeing all the different arrangements in the orchestra. Look at the violinists over here, the woodwind guys over here. Somebody decided to drop their mobile phone on one of the people's heads from above, which was hideous. And seeing this guy in the orchestra rubbing his head. It was only the Royal Opera House, just a small venue. It wasn't ridiculous. So that was interesting. So when I was watching that, I wasn't watching the performance. Then I was watching people's reaction. It was just crazy. There was so much going on. I didn't know where to focus. So that reminded me of coverage. The other thing was, as I said before, I've not been to a ballet before. So I was kind of thinking, is this any good? How do I figure out if this is any good or not? There could have been people from off the street, and I would have been, oh, you know what I mean? So how did I figure it out? Well, they had a program which described the people in the ballet, which kind of made me think, okay, this guy's got some skills. Okay, someone's got ill, so it's the backup guy there, so he may not be so good. I'll let him off, kind of thing. How would I know if there were going to be mistakes? Because I thought I spotted one, but they kind of wrote it out a little bit and kind of pretended like it didn't happen. And that kind of reminded me about oracles. That made me think of oracles, this whole thing. How do I know when I see a problem, it's a problem, when you've got no frame of reference? Quite often we get thrown into the deep end, here's this thing, go and test it, and then people vanish off if they're not doing their job, which not many people are these days. They claim they are, but they're not really. How do you know you've got a problem? What oracles do you use? I was using the crowd reaction, the audience. I was using the orchestra. When the music got more dramatic, it kind of informed me that something important was going on. So I'd stop, staring gooey-eyed at my wife, and I'd start focusing back on the actual performance. Things like that. So that made me think about oracles. Another thing that came to mind while I was at the test bash with you, Simon, was working together, like pairing. There were talks there at test bash about pairing. I realised that my wife and I were acting like a pair. So I was talking about coverage earlier. So quite often she'd elbow me. So look at that! Look what they're doing over there. Because it was loads of performers, dancers. But there was one guy who had the role of a beggar. So he wasn't actually dancing. He'd be hobbling. He'd literally be hobbling across the stage, and then he'd harass one of the performers and kind of pull their costume and then pretend to give him some money. And he'd stuff it. His routine was he'd get the money, stuff it down his shirt, and then wiped the snot off his hand, and that made people laugh, and I didn't see that before. So it was kind of like, it was a good example of working together and pairing and saying, okay, there's something interesting over here, we should go and look at that. That was really good. And also, we got talking to some ladies next to us. Complete strangers, but it turned out they were from Leicester as well. All right, Leicester people are cultured. We know what fine art is like. So we spoke to them. They clued us in. They're from Leicester, but they live up north now. They travel down. They make a trip of it. Have a bit of a girly weekend. So that was working together and using other people's experience to help you reach your goals and achieve what you're doing. As I said, I've never been to it before. I decided not to prepare beforehand. I didn't go and read up about Romeo and Juliet. I know about Romeo and Juliet, we all do. It's a classic. I didn't go and investigate on ballet, what makes a good ballet. I didn't watch the Black Swan beforehand. I decided not to do any of that foolishness. I just wanted to go in raw, cold, and explore. There's a lot of talk about James Black here tonight, context-driven exploration versus scripted. I think the most bit of preparation I did was I got the programme. I had a scan through that. My older brother is a performer and a dancer, so I've watched him do stuff, and that kind of gave me a bit of a clue. I think that's kind of how I managed to spot a mistake that I think still was a mistake. When I was at school, I was a stagehand. I can remember being in assembly and the dance teachers came on and said, we're putting on this dance show, and we need some help. We haven't got enough stagehands. We need someone to do the lighting. You know, I was 16, and I was thinking to myself, there's going to be a bunch of 16-year-olds, women in tight costumes. Should I help? I'm all over it. So I went and volunteered, and that helped me as well, because I was thinking, okay, I got involved with the performance, and I knew that there was a central part of the performance, and there was peripheral stuff going on around it, which I hadn't thought about for a long time until I was sat in the show. So I used some past experience to help me explore. I used the programme. It had some descriptions about the conduct and all these other things to help me kind of think a little bit about, right before I started, what I was going to be looking at. So that kind of maybe alluded to like exploration versus scripting, and heavy scripting or heavy exploration and that kind of thing. So that was quite interesting. And then the final thing is when to stop. Well, how do I know that it's done? Because as I say, it's just like me and Simon and the people into a ballet. The encore was ridiculously long. It was ridiculous. Absolutely. I had no idea when it was finished. My hands were red raw. It was horrible. Every time, so Juliet came on, yeah, it's wonderful, yes, bravo, it's great. And then Juliet came out and the same thing again. And then Mercutio came out and everyone, and the conductor came on. It just went on for almost as long as the show itself. It was horrible. I didn't have any idea when it was going to be done. And again, how do you know you're going to be done with your testing? Is it a matter of achieving some coverage goal, number of bugs that you found, this kind of thing? So it made me think about that. So I don't know if you guys have got any experiences of doing something that's supposed to be completely unrelated to testing, and it's made you think of testing. But I thought I'd share it with you. If you've got any stories you'd like to share, I'd like to hear them. But yeah, that's me. That's my talk. Have you guys got anything that you similar experiences that you want to share? Come on, I've told you I've been to the ballet. I used to play American football, and I've confessed I went to the ballet. I can't be the only one in here who's got some. Come on, let me up. Someone must have something. No? Well, that's me done. I'm done. If you guys want to contribute.
Thank you, Vernon.